Hello and welcome to The Print. I'm Apurva Mandhani and we're bringing you live updates on the election results in Maharashtra, Jharkhand and several bypolls. We'll be bringing you live updates throughout the day, so you keep all of you. I request you to keep a track and keep checking our YouTube channel as well as our website. We're running a live blog on the results as well. For our first live of the election day, I have with me three of my colleagues, Mansi Phadke, Neelam Pandey, and Saurav Roy Burman. Just to let you know, before I start talking to my colleagues, apologies, I have with me Neelam Pandey, Saurav Roy Burman, and Purva Chitnis with me. Um, in Maharashtra, we have the Mahayuti comprising the Eknath Shinde, Shiv Sena, BJP, and Ajit Pawar-led NCP, which is in fight to retain power. On the other side, there's the Vikas Agadi or the MBA and its constituents, the Shiv Sena UBT of Uddhav Thackeray, NCP SP of Sharad Pawar, and the Congress. Maharashtra has 288 assembly seats, making 145 the halfway mark. In Jharkhand, constituents of the ruling India bloc, JMM, Congress, and RJD are facing the BJP and its ally AJSU. Jharkhand has 81 assembly seats, making 41 the halfway mark. Now, uh, who will emerge victorious in Maharashtra, Mahayuti or MBA, and will voters in Jharkhand favor NDA or India bloc? Stay tuned. We're going to find out through the course of this day. But before that, let's turn to our colleagues. Purva, I'm going to speak to you first. Tell us what's at stake in Maharashtra.
Well, a lot is at stake for a lot of leaders in Maharashtra because this is like an unprecedented kind of election this time around. Because for the first time, there are six parties. In fact, two regional parties are split into two. So, six major parties. And as you mentioned, the Mahayuti has three parties. So, we have a Shiv Sena in ruling, a Shiv Sena in opposition. We have an NCP in ruling, we have NCP in opposition. So there was a lot of confusion amongst voters as well, which way to go, who is going to be where, because we've seen that in the last 5 years, the 5 year term that we had three governments. One was of 2.5 days to 3 days, then second was 2.5 years, then third government was 2.5 years. So this has been a lot. There was a lot going on in Maharashtra politics in the last 5 years, and that is why this election is going to be very, very crucial, because which way the voters will vote for, and it is not at all easy to predict this election, because every region had its own issues that the voters were looking at, and different regions, different it actually goes down to constituency by constituency, and also it also depends on the leaders, because all of the leaders who rebelled in both these alliances, they actually are a 4 term, 5 term MLAs. So they are these big satraps in their own constituencies. So, but they rebelled, and that is why for voters it is going to be a big, big test which way they are going to vote for, because we've seen how at 84 years old, Sharad Pawar in the last 1 month, he actually campaigned across the state, and he had like 74 rallies across the state. So the voters had this kind of sympathy wave for Sharad Pawar, that even at this age he had to go out on ground, campaign so hard for his party, for his candidates. Then there was Uddhav Thackeray, who was the sitting CM, and he was dethroned, and Eknath Shinde became the CM. So there was this factor for Uddhav Thackeray, but whether this sympathy will be carried forward or not, because we have seen Eknath Shinde, who was MMR Thane Mumbai leader, in the last 2 to 3 months, because of the popular scheme like Ladki Bahin, he kind of became a Maharashtra leader. He came out on its own. Earlier, it was thought that BJP, especially Devendra Fadnavis, would be the one who would be calling the shots in the Shinde Fadnavis government. But it wasn't the case in the last 6 months, 8 months or so. We've seen how Eknath Shinde also emerged as a leader of his own. So for all these leaders, Devendra Fadnavis, for him, it is going to be a high stake battle for him personally as well. Whether the people are going to trust him, because there is a feeling amongst people that whatever happened in Maharashtra, BJP and Devendra Fadnavis was somewhat somewhere responsible. So even for him, it is going to be a high stake battle. Which how BJP is going to perform, because we've seen in Lok Sabha BJP performed really poorly as against everyone's expectation. They contested 28 seats and could win only 9 seats. Whereas Eknath Shinde contested 15 seats and won 7 seats. So whether this power balance will remain the way it is, whether it has shifted post Lok Sabha, that is also something that needs to be seen. Whether there is vote transfer, because in Lok Sabha, we've seen Mahayuti constituents did not have a great vote transfer amongst themselves. Whereas in case of Mahavikas Aghadi, we have seen the vote transfer between Congress, Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray, and NCP Sharad Pawar. The vote transfer was very smooth. But post Lok Sabha, there was a lot of bickering between the Mahavikas Aghadi. So even for voters, it was confusing whether should we vote for them and whether they will stay where they are. That is a main thing that voters had in their mind, that today we are going to vote for candidate A, but there is no guarantee that candidate A will remain in party B. He might just switch post election. So all these factors will come into play, and that is why the early trends are coming in, but it is too early to predict which way Maharashtra is going.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Purva, for that detailed discussion on what's at stake in Maharashtra, because it's a peculiar contest. We've seen two major splits happening since 2019, when the last assembly elections were held. Moving to you now, Neelam, let's talk about Jharkhand. What does the contest look like there? Is it as exciting as what's happening in Maharashtra?
Well, I would like to just talk about three important factors in these elections, irrespective of who will end up winning this battle. But these elections are important for a number of leaders and their future, whether it's Champai Soren, the former chief minister of Jharkhand, who switched sides before the elections. His son is also contesting these elections. You have Babulal Marandi, the state president of the BJP. At the same time, Arjun Munda, who is not contesting the elections, but his wife is. So, apart from Hemant Soren, his wife Kalpana Soren, who took over the reins of the party when he was, put behind bars. So there's a lot at stake for these political leaders, their legacy, their future. At the same time, we noticed that during the Haryana Assembly elections, which were held recently, we saw that the party did not focus so much on the image of PM Modi. While he was there part of the campaign, he did address a number of rallies, but his pictures were always a little smaller. They did not want to put a lot of emphasis on PM Modi. But in Jharkhand, we saw a shift right from the manifesto, where at least 17, 18 pages carried his full picture. And at the same time, after that, the entire campaign focused on the promise made by the BJP as far as the elections are concerned, and who would deliver on those promises. It was PM Modi. So, whether that brand Modi is back again, not to say that, PM, of course, addresses a number of rallies, his brand remains intact, but the degree of that brand, we will again witness that in Jharkhand. At the same time, during the Lok Sabha elections, one of the major issues that was talked about was the fact that the RSS stayed away from the elections, and that resulted in the BJP not doing as well as it should have. In Haryana elections, we saw how RSS was back. Again, in Jharkhand, RSS, through its affiliates, including the Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram, it carried out campaigning, canvassing, and at the same time, the tribals account for at least over 26%. So there, Vanvasi Kalyan played a crucial role. Whether that has sort of worked out for the party or not is again something that will be decided. The relation between the RSS and the BJP, will it get strengthened further? Again, that is something that is crucial. Talking about the Jharkhand elections, if we look at the Lok Sabha held earlier this year, JMM won all the Lok Sabha seats in the which is reserved for the tribals. So, following Hemant Soren's arrest by the Enforcement Directorate, his wife Kalpana Soren led from the front. So everyone was under this impression now that Soren is no longer, active in terms of the fact that he was put behind bars. What will happen to the party? We realized that Kalpana Soren also emerged as a strong leader, and in these elections, she is contesting again after the bypoll, trying to retain that seat. We also saw her emergence as someone who can also lead the party. So that is an important aspect of these elections. And she also launched a scathing attack against the BJP government, and accusing it of not doing enough for the tribal. So the tribal sentiment will obviously play a crucial role as to what will happen in these elections. And on its part, the BJP centered its assembly poll on the issue of the state's shrinking tribal population, coupled with the claim of rampant cross-border infiltration. We saw Himanta Sarma Biswa. We saw him talking about Bangladeshi infiltration. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who's the union minister, was also given the charge of this state. We saw him canvassing. He spent most of his time in Jharkhand. So these elections are important not just in terms of who's going to win the election, but what it means for these leaders also.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Neelam. Those are some very pertinent questions, and I think we will get back to you and ask you for those answers once we have better clarity on what the results look like. Moving to you now, Saurabh. Tell us now, Neelam spoke about how, for example, this election would, what it would mean, the results would mean for, say, brand Modi. Tell us what these elections would mean for the opposition, what's at stake there.
I mean, see, after the Lok Sabha elections, so if politics is a game of perception, the opposition started dominating the narrative, despite actually Congress getting 99 seats and losing the elections for the third consecutive time. And we saw how BJP, despite winning the elections, of course, it settled far below the halfway mark. It actually lost the plot in a way, and that continued for uh, the subsequent few months. Every time the BJP government rolled back a decision, for example, withdrawing the draft broadcast bill, or sending the Waqf bill to the JPC, or restoring the indexation benefits in the case of sale of property. That perception got reinforced. So in a way, Haryana assembly election results changed that, because everyone was expecting, especially the Congress party was expecting to win the state, after two consecutive losses. So that did not happen. So that was a major setback for the party. And one of the primary reasons the party found out later that it could have, lost the election was because of the role played by the independent candidates. So we had a story on how, in over 11 seats, Congress essentially lost due to independents playing spoilsport. So
Right.
what the Congress party tried to do in Maharashtra was they tried to actually manage those independents, and we saw the Congress AICC in charge of Maharashtra, Ramesh Chennithala, talking about that factor in many interviews. So yeah, and the fact is that Lok Sabha also helped Rahul Gandhi earn the tag of the leader of the opposition. So now the results in the states is not going to change that status. But again, in terms of perception, it is going to play a huge role, because for for the Congress to retain that status of leading that entire India bloc pack, it needs to do well. It cannot be seen as a party which is actually acting as a drag on the larger India alliance.
Right. So it does seem like a high stakes battle everywhere. We also have a few viewer questions already coming in. So I'm going to take one or two now. We have a question from Aditya, who's our regular viewer. He's asking, we always hear RSS helps in elections if election related machinery is taken care. But he's asking if election related machinery is taken care by the BJP. What exactly does RSS do? Does it bring voter to polling booth to vote for BJP? Any of you can take up this question.
Yeah, well, Apurva, when we say that the RSS helps the BJP, or it helps during elections, there are three factors to it. One is they ensure they never talk about openly about a party. I mean, during closed door meetings, what they say is different, but they do talk about the fact that you need to go out and vote. So they want to ensure that the voter turnout is higher. And why this is important is because if you look at how BJP performed in Rajasthan, especially, we were told that the key organizational person who's the link between the RSS and the BJP was sent to another state. So Rajasthan was without that key person, the organizational person, and that led to, as I said, RSS was not uh, involved as it should have. So the voting turnout was much lower, and the BJP leader said that that was one of the reasons that they did not do well. So one of the things is that they ensure they motivate people to go out and vote. Second thing is that they always talk about that, vote for a party which thinks about national issues, which stands for national issues, and in a way they're talking about the BJP, right? And thirdly, what these organizations do is, and it's when we talk about RSS, it's like an umbrella term. There are several organizations which are part of the RSS. So whether it's the VHP, whether it's, as I talked about, Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram. In Maharashtra also, for instance, they carried out several round of meetings under Sant Sammelan. That was the phrase that was used. And what they do is they talk about what all has happened during the past 5 years, and what can happen if that same party, in case of Maharashtra, if they are voted to power again. So RSS in that sense plays a key role because they have been in touch with these people for several years. So it is not as if that they go to them only during election. They are actually like so-called family members. So they are always in touch with these people.
Right. We also have two questions coming in about Maharashtra. I'm going to direct them towards you, Purva. First is by Aditya. He's asking, do you think if Ajit Pawar does not get desired number of seats, then both BJP and Eknath Shinde might get rid of him since he seems to be a weak link in the coalition?
Well, in fact, Ajit Pawar it was expected that Ajit Pawar will not do as well in the alliance, and he would be the weak link. But here in the alliance, it needs to be seen how much. BJP and Shiv Sena, Eknath Shinde bring to the table, the numbers that they bring, because Ajit Pawar's he's not going to like just get like 5 or 10 seats. He's at least going to get like, say, if at all, around 20. So those keep those 20 odd seats, they are also going to be very important for Mahayuti to come in power, because if we go by the trends at this point, the Mahayuti and Mahavikas Agadi, they are going neck and neck. So it's not that there is a tsunami of say BJP or Eknath Shinde, Shiv Sena, that just by themselves they will be able to form the government. For that, then BJP is fighting, say, 150 odd seats. In that case, BJP needs to get like at least 120 odd seats, and then Eknath Shinde, who's fighting about 80 seats, he needs to get like, say, 40 odd seats. In that case, if that is the scenario, then yes, Ajit Pawar's relevance in Mahayuti, that needs to be seen, because then if at all Ajit Pawar's numbers are like, say, 20, 25, if Mahavikas Agadi needs only like, say, 10, 12, 15 seats to form the government, there might be some negotiations with him. And in fact, he also, in the last few days of his, the interviews that he has given to the media, he has kept his doors open. In fact, even when we have been doing stories about the NCP and Ajit Pawar camp, the Ajit Pawar camp people also know that they have to keep their doors open, and because they believe that they will be the kingmaker in this election, and whichever alliances needs them, they will stay with them. So they are going to be, their numbers are going to be very crucial, because it's not it's a neck and neck fight, and their numbers are going to be crucial. So it remains, so Mahayuti cannot just get rid of Ajit Pawar at this point. Yes, of course, scenario might change if BJP and Shiv Sena gets that 144 mark by themselves. But at this point, it doesn't look like that. They will just get rid of Ajit Pawar.
Right. Another question for you, Purva. Satyam is asking, was there any effect on voters' mind about the so-called meeting held in presence of Adani in Maharashtra, as Rahul Gandhi has again started singing the same old Adani song. So, is there any effect?
Well, Adani, as our viewers have also said, Adani issue is basically very limited to Mumbai, is what from what we have reported and what we have understood. It has remained very specific to the urban centers of Maharashtra, especially Mumbai, because of the Dharavi redevelopment issue. If you go to say Vidarbha, or if you go to a North Maharashtra district, say a Jalgaon or Gadchiroli, Adani issue will not be that much resonated on ground. It is yes, it is a crucial factor that MVA has in fact been talking about all the time, and they about the three or four issues that they spoke about. Adani featured in the discourse. It's also because Shiv Sena Uddhav Sahib Thackeray party is Mumbai based. It is very urban centric, and that is why it is crucial for Shiv Sena and of course the Congress. Because of Rahul Gandhi, this Adani issue has been very relevant. But from what we understand, the vote for voters, it is important in Mumbai, in Thane and MMR region. Adani issue is very relevant. It doesn't really find much resonance in the rural and the hinterland of Maharashtra, because the issues there are the agrarian crisis and the agrarian distress, that is they're not getting MSP for their cotton, soybean, and then the inflation has been the major talking point in the rural sector, and Adani has been a talking point in the urban sector. And this is where in urban, that is where BJP also is present. So yes, in urban sector we might see some a relevance of Adani factor and how that's going to be played out, but not across the Maharashtra is what our sense is.
I just
Yeah,
want to
on
come in
that,
here on that question
yes.
of Satyam about Rahul Gandhi singing the same tune about Adani. I just want to point out how right before the Maharashtra elections, Rahul Gandhi also made a very significant intervention. He wrote an op-ed in several newspapers, marking a small shift in the Congress strategy. He spoke about how he's not really against business. He's not really anti-wealth. He's just against monopolies. So he
Right.
tried to elaborate. And on the question of that meeting, we still don't know what actually happened and who all the dramatic person were in that meeting, because Ajit Pawar initially spoke about how Gautam Adani was in that meeting. Then he backtracked and said, it was Gautam Adani's guest house. Devendra Fadnavis, in fact, said it was a guest house of a private businessman. And Sharad Pawar also said that Gautam Adani was merely the host and he hosted the dinner and he was not a part of the political conversation that happened in that meeting. So yeah, we also
Right.
had all those contradictory versions from all these leaders.
Right. Since we're talking about Rahul Gandhi, Saurabh, I was about to just come to you to speak about it. Now, his spirits were high, the party spirits were high with the 99 seats in the Lok Sabha elections, but with the Haryana poll defeat, what would these results mean for Rahul Gandhi?
It all depends on how the results turn out. If the results are in the party's favor, of course, he's going to fly high. And it will have a result in seat sharing talks in Delhi, because we have seen how the AAP and Congress have been attacking each other over the
Right.
last few months, especially over the last few weeks, and they have been poaching each other's leaders. And you will have assembly polls in Delhi in a couple of months. So it all depends on whether the Congress party does well. If they do well, they will exert some pressure on the AAP. They will probably get some seats. There will probably be an alliance. If the results are not in the party's favor, I'm pretty certain that the AAP is not going to uh, set aside any seat for the party.
Right.
Here in Maharashtra's context, I would like to bring in, like after Lok Sabha, when Congress emerged the single largest party in Maharashtra, Congress started singing different tunes. They were high on the victory that they had in Maharashtra, and they started talking about, we will claim the CM post. And post Haryana, things changed, because that's when the seat sharing started. Earlier, it was kind of Congress dominated, that they will get the maximum number of seats. But then post Haryana, their bargaining power also kind of reduced. And here also we need to really see how Congress performs, and a lot for Maha Vikas Aghadi depends on Congress's performance, because Congress and BJP are fighting on 74 seats against each other. So here, if the Congress is not able to perform well, and because of the Congress, if Mahavikas Aghadi is not able to form the government, that is telling a lot, because the Congress leaders has been singing different tunes in Maharashtra, that they are the big brother and they are the ones who are going to claim the chief minister post. So a lot depends on how Congress performs vis-a-vis BJP in this particular election, especially in Maharashtra, as there are like 74 odd seats in which they are fighting against each other.
Since we're talking about the Congress and the opposition, and since we have been flooded with questions right now, I'm going to take one more question before we end this live, and any of you can take it. Aditya is asking, do you think if the elections don't go India Alliance way, will the upcoming session of Parliament not be as fiery as it was expected to be because of that Adani issue, or will the approach not change?
No, that's right. In fact, Rahul Gandhi made it very clear after the US prosecutors indicted Adani and a few other people. And he made it very clear in that press conference that they're going to raise it aggressively in the parliament session. And they're going to press for a joint parliamentary committee investigation as well. So, of course, if the Congress does well, if the India Alliance does well, they're going to very aggressive, very vocal about it, and we might as well see a washout of the first session, the first few days. So that is expected.
Okay. So there may be exciting days ahead. Neelam, yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I know we are talking about Maharashtra and Jharkhand, but we should also know there are bipoles also, which are very crucial, and we
Absolutely.
will be updating our viewers about it. We have Kedarnath in Uttarakhand, we have Rajasthan, we have Uttar Pradesh. So throughout the course of this live as well as others, we will be talking about them too.
Absolutely. And for our viewers, we'll be bringing in lives every hour or so, or every few hours or so, to bring you live updates. We also have a blog running on our website. And in addition to that, just a big shout out to all my colleagues, including Purva, Neelam, and Saurav, who've been covering the elections. They've done some wonderful stories on while reporting from the ground. So do check out those stories as well. For now, I think we're going to be ending this live, but we'll be back again with more updates once more trends start pouring in, and we'll ensure that you get the best analysis of these results from my colleagues. We'll be having experts as well, and keep sending us your questions too, because we keep a check on the live chat, and we'll ensure that your questions on these results, on what these results mean for the ruling coalition as well as the opposition, will ensure that all of your questions are answered as well. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, Purva.